A lot of people think that a man named Frank Selleck is the luckiest man in the world. See, it all started back in 1962 when a train Frank was traveling on derailed, and it actually plunged directly into an icy lake. Now, unfortunately, a lot of people lost their lives that day. But people say that Frank was sitting in the perfect spot of the train where he was able to walk away from that crash without barely a scratch or a bruise. 4 years later, he was traveling in a bus. It was wintertime. That bus skidded off the road again into an icy lake. Again, people say that he was sitting in the perfect spot where he escaped with barely a bruise. But here's my favorite one. Frank was flying in an airplane when the door became ajar. When it swung open, the pressure sucked Frank straight out of the airplane. But what do you think happened? Frank, very luckily, landed on top of a huge haystack and saved his life. How crazy is that? And then last but not least, Frank is the recent recipient of $910,000 lottery. So I get it. I get why people claim he's the luckiest man in the world. But I'm here today to say he's not. Because I have something that Frank does not. I am married to this pretty lady right over here. 3 years ago, this past Wednesday, I got to marry my best friend. And I've been the luckiest man ever since. There's a lot of things I love about my wife. She's fun, laid back, she's got an awesome sense of humor, and she's extremely caring. For those of you that have heard some of my past speeches know I like to do a lot of wild, crazy, and borderline, probably even past borderline stupid things. Whether it's joining an Irish hurling team, or getting in a wiffle ball bat fight against a gigantic man named Bear in the middle of the bar. And for those of you that remember that speech, there is one part I left out of that story. I didn't mention that we were there with two of our couple friends. And after the speech, of course my guy friends, we were high-fiving, that's the coolest thing ever. But their wives, oh boy, they were not impressed. And one went so far as to tell me she was extremely disappointed I engaged in such a thoughtless and barbaric event. But not my wife. My wife, the whole time, she was right here. She was right in my corner cheering for me. And not only that, she had a fun time doing it and had a great night out of it. So that's why I love her. But not only that, she's got an awesome sense of humor. I remember when I got married and I was thinking, I'm going to be spending my weekends watching chick flicks and romantic comedies. But luckily for me, that's not the case. She likes watching movies with Will Ferrell and Jimmy Fallon and Jim Carrey. She even likes action movies. So don't get me wrong, we watch our chick flicks, and at least every other year I have to watch the movie Blue Crush. So we do watch those movies, but it's the least I can do since I get to pick the movie most of the time. And lastly, my wife's extremely caring. One of my favorite quotes is, "The greatest love is the one that asks for nothing in return." And that's the way my wife loves. She keeps a box of cards in our condo that she just writes for birthdays, holidays, or for no reason at all. She'll send it to anyone and everyone. And countless times I've been having a hard day at work, and I'll get home and there will just be a card on the table, just with a few inspiring words. And it's exactly what I need, and exactly when I needed it. So I'm looking around the room, and I can see the same look on everyone's face right now, and you're all thinking, how in the world did Ryan get this girl to put up with him, let alone marry him? And I have to admit, I'm not quite sure myself. But I am thankful every day that I somehow pulled it off. So today I want to leave you with a quote from Victor Hugo. It says, "The greatest joy in life is that we are loved. Not loved for ourselves, but loved in spite of ourselves." Thank you.